Hi, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today I would like to talk to you about intention. So intention, I'm talking about the law of attraction, which is an actual cohesive way of explaining how the mind works, but I'm also talking about explanations and why they're not that great. So an intention is an ideal that we set in order to get to a destination, which is a manifestation. And manifest, if you didn't know, is simply a borrowed word from the shipping days. A manifest is a plan or record. So if we want to manifest something, we want to record it, having happened. And that's where that term comes from. So when we set an intention, we're setting an ideal. And this ideal is more of an emotional state. So if we want to, say, be a more charismatic person because we want to be a better salesman, then we would set the intention of being charismatic. And then we would think about being charismatic and how to be charismatic and what charismatic people are like, and then so on and so forth, and we would become more charismatic. And so we do that, and eventually we will use this charisma along with other things that we use in our mind to become more sales oriented. You're not going to be a better salesman overnight, I can tell you that. But you can slowly work your way towards being a better salesman through any course. And it doesn't have to be any gurus. I'm not your guru. That's another thing. So, looking over my script, because someone sold me on writing scripts, but it's not too much. I want to talk about 3 things that I feel have helped me in my quest to become a better manifester. These are Outwitting the Devil. Outwitting the Devil is great. It's by Napoleon Hill. It deals in stopping the absence of thought. That the absence of thought is the negative, and it is to be avoided at any and all costs. The absence of thought, much like sleep, is not good. So when we send our body to rest in bed at night, we should be sleeping as late as possible and not waking up as late as possible. That's a different thing. We should be waking up at a decent hour, but we should avoid going to sleep as much as possible. We should lay in bed with our eyes closed, thinking. That's the most important part. We need to be thinking. And because we're thinking, we continue manifesting. And that's the most important part. That's why we're in bed thinking. Because all thoughts are prayers, as I've said before on this channel, all thoughts are prayers, and therefore we should be in bed praying for as long as possible. It's starting to make sense, right? So, Outwitting the Devil was one of the books. The other book was something I've not mastered. It's I don't even remember the name, but it was very important in my manifesting upbringing. It's by Neville Goddard, and I can't remember the name, but it's one of his seminal works, and it deals in jumping from reality to reality. And I'll tell you right now that I feel like it's a big ordeal to have a big out-of-body experience, because I've never... Okay, I posted a video recently about H.P. Lovecraft, and I don't know how the video did yet, but very important to me was reading that aloud. And then the other book was anything by Earl Nightingale. Earl Nightingale is great. He's wonderful. He's beautiful. He's amazing. He's everything that someone should be, because he's just straightforward, to the point, and I can't say that he's everything someone should be. I'm sure he had flaws that he saw in himself, and he worked on himself till the day he died of that, I'm sure. But those are the three things. Outwitting the Devil by Napoleon Hill, some woo-woo book by Neville Goddard, just in general, the law of assumption. That's his thing. Yeah, and what was it called? It was The Strangest Secret by Earl Nightingale. The Strangest Secret, very important work, very digestible. Earl Nightingale is very good at making things digestible. And the last thing I wanted to talk about was notion versus explanation. So what I gave you just a moment ago was a notion of how things work. We lay in bed, we think for a while, we pray, we continue praying, and I don't know if it's just because I've listened to so much 21 Pilots that I know that sleep is something to be avoided. And I would like to thank one Miss Anna Lee Olson. I'm sorry for saying your full name. I know you don't like your full name. But Anna, thank you for introducing me to 21 Pilots, because it was because of 21 Pilots that I learned that sleeping is not something that should be rushed into. I thank her profusely for everything she's done in my life. Yeah, so notion versus explanation. If you have an explanation for something, but you don't have a notion of how to do it, you kind of miss the point of having the explanation, because you need to have a notion of something in order to really be able to grasp it. And I missed this because I fumbled in an earlier take, and I messed up, and yeah, so notion versus explanation. Let's break this down for a second. So if we have a notion of something, we kind of get how to do it. We might not know exactly the specifications, but we know, don't do this, do this instead. We have an idea of how to do it. If we have an explanation, it's just you're expected to have understood this. You have received the explanation, and it is expected that you have the notion of how to do it. But you don't always have the notion. At least I don't always have the notion of how to do something just from the explanation. Maybe a less effective notion, but certainly not a notion that would be organic. And that's all that's in my script. It's just a little bit of chicken scratch reminding me of the topics I need to cover. It's not anything that's, discernible. So to recap, in one of my earlier takes, because I have done too many takes of this video, I told myself that I need to, in 1 week, go to the psychiatrist and tell them I need to be on antidepressants, because antidepressants just stop you from thinking about the past, and that's what I do way too much of, is think about the past. So, to recap, when we go to bed at night, what are we going to do? We're going to lay there and we're going to think thoughts about how to make better life. And we're going to fight sleep. That's something that's a common reoccurring theme in 21 Pilot songs, is the fighting of sleep. I'm not good at pulling lyrics out of my butt immediately, but if someone could sing a tune, if they know of such a tune. Notion versus explanation. We want to have a notion of what we want to do rather than an explanation. I'm not going to give you scientific, quantifiable, researched quantities of what to do in what situation, because that's information overload. You just want an idea of what you're supposed to do, and then you, sir or madam, can go out and apply the techniques yourself and profit. You can profit. And then the 3 books that I wanted to cover for some obtuse reason. I don't know if I used obtuse there correctly, but I use that in that manner quite often. Outwitting the Devil. Do not think nothing. Having no thought in brain is dumb. Anything by Neville Goddard. Pretty cash. He's a cool dude. And what was the other one? The Strangest Secret by Earl Nightingale. There was like 3 months of my life where I listened to that at least once a day. And it's good. You want to be listening to The Strangest Secret. Yeah, but I'd say my favorite is Outwitting the Devil by Napoleon Hill. I haven't listened to it that much, but the one I've listened to the most is definitely by far The Strangest Secret. That one is so good. And then at the very beginning of the video, we talked about how intention is setting a goal. Apostrophe S. There was an apostrophe S in there. Setting a goals. Ideal requirements that can be fulfilled. That's what intention is. I shot that thing dead. I shot that explanation dead. And intention is, let's see if it just, intention is setting an ideal to reach a goal. And a goal, as we all fetishize, is a manifestation, which is just a ship's manifold, or record, or plan. That's how I see manifestation. A manifestation is just a plan. My name's Liam of Bishop Vlogs. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Like so other people can see the video, comment on what you thought was interesting or what you want to talk to me about, and subscribe so you can see my pretty little face. Thanks for watching.